Hello, I'm Timothy Priscilla, and today my class and I are going to complete the square to write a circle in center radius form. So here's the problem we're going to work with: x squared plus y squared minus 8x plus 4y equals negative 19. And the first step, if a doesn't equal 1, we divide by a. Well, what's a in this case? 1, so we just skip over that step. The second step, we are rewriting. We'll group the x terms together. Oops, that's an x squared minus 8x. And I do a little bit more than just grouping the x terms together. I skip some space because I'm going to have to add a number there in a moment. I then group the y terms together. And I already have that constant term on the right-hand side. Now we're ready to perform those magic steps that are going to create a perfect square trinomial for x and a perfect square trinomial for y. This is where we'll divide the coefficient of x by 1/2. That's the same thing as, not dividing by 1/2. We'll multiply by 1/2. That's the same thing as dividing by 2. And squaring the result, adding it to both sides. So, with that in mind, what number's going to go in that blue blank there? Okay, you said half of 8 is 4. 4 squared is 16. I agree. We'll add it to both sides. You said half of 8, here's my mental calculations, half of 8 is 4, 4 squared is 16. Now, what number is going to go inside the red blank? 4. I'm moving up, so there. Well, 4, let's see if you're right. Half of 4 is 2. 2 squared, you're right, that's 4. So we add 4 to both sides. Next step, we have to factor the x and y terms as perfect square trinomials, and they factor very nicely. The x terms are going to factor as variable x, sine, negative, it's that minus sign, it's that sign right there, half of that number, 4. Quantity squared plus, now let's do the same thing for the y's. Y plus 2. Variable, sine, half this number. Y'all are getting the hang of this better than most people do, okay? And what's the right-hand side going to reduce to? Negative 19 plus 20, yeah, that's a 1. This number is positive, so it says that our equation is a circle. What's the center of the circle? The center. What do you say for negative 2? I agree. Change sign. Change sign. The radius is the square root of that number there. That's why that number needs to be positive. If that number were negative, you wouldn't have a graph because you would have a imaginary radius, which is not possible. If that number was 0, all you'd have is the center. You couldn't go up, down, left, or right. So you would have the center point and nothing else. Once again, this was Timothy Priscilla, and my class and I were just discussing completing the square to find the center radius of a circle. Bye.